welcome back to Mini-Modelog. So this is my mid-month video. Now I talked about doing this in my 2017 look back, which should pop up here in just a minute. And this is one of the things I said I would be doing, which is looking at sort of news in the middle of the month. So articles that have come up, stuff on the Warhammer community page, stuff on the Steamforge website, and try and keep you guys more up to date with what's going on. So let's go straight into it with Games Workshop news. So there's a lot of rumours around the internet that there's a lot coming in February, and I'm hoping it's true. So a lot of this is rumour. I reckon some of it will eventually come to pass, but don't quote me is what I'm saying. So to start with, codexes. Now they've been keeping a really nice run of codexes even over the Christmas period, because you had Codex Demons, which sort of was late December, early January. So in February, I reckon it will be Codex Custodes. And the reason I say that is there is a whole load of articles on the Custodes currently on the Warhammer community page. But I also reckon Codex Thousand Suns will come shortly after, in late February. So look out for both of those codexes if you're thinking of fielding those armies for your 40k games. So let's now move on to Shadespire. Now, the video for the Skaven Warband came out quite a while ago, and since then I've been waiting to hear when that's going to be released. The rumour mill says that there'll be 2 new warbands in February, so I reckon it'll be the Skaven and the Fire Slayers. So if you're looking to expand your Warhammer Underworlds models even further, that'll be the way to do it in mid-Feb. But if you're sort of searching for ways to make decks, and also you've only got the core set and are wondering what the expansion's about, head to the Shadespire website, where currently you've got the full list of cards with a full card list and some deck ideas for each of the 4 warbands currently available. I had a look on there the other day and I realised I had all the cards available to me. But for those of you who haven't picked up the expansions yet and are wondering what all the fuss is about, go check that out. Necromunda. Now, the last Necromunda release was the actual box game where you got the Escher and the Goliath gangs, and of course they released those separately if you wanted to collect them separately. But we had images of the Orlocks just before Christmas, so I reckon the Orlocks will be coming in February, because there is rumoured a Necromunda gang will be coming, and we know that the main houses are being released first. So I reckon it will be Orlocks. On to Age of Sigmar next, and you're probably all going to go, well, you've never mentioned Age of Sigmar before. So I got back into Age of Sigmar recently, and I'll talk more about it in Mini-Modelog news, but Malign Portents is the new sort of storyline, and there's allegedly going to be a Battle Tome of Death come out, hopefully in February as well, for all of you Death Allegiance players. Also on the Warhammer TV website is How to Paint the Great Unclean One, and that will be down below for a link. So that's all that. Let's move on to Steamforge next. Now in the Steamforge website there's images for Godtear models, and also a discussion about the large models that are going to be available in Godtear. If you've never heard of Godtear or don't know what it's about, check out the links down below for a link to all information Godtear, which is from Steamforge, which I believe is coming out later this year. For Guild Ball, there was a focus on the Farmers player Fallow, with an article on Fallow and a background, as well as images of the Ratcatchers Minor Guild painted by Studio Painted, basically. So we got to see all 6 of the Ratcatchers and their terrain pieces, which are hopefully going to be available in the box set. I'm hoping for a February release, which would be amazing. So that covers Steamforge and covers all of Games Workshop releases. Now let's talk about Mini-Modelog news. Now I talked about AOS in the news segment, and I'm going to be venturing into Age of Sigmar with my old Skaven Warhammer Fantasy Army. Now I will talk about my Fantasy Army at some point, and I'll also talk about what's missing and what I need to play Age of Sigmar. And as I get those things, I'll share them obviously with you. A friend of mine from work is part of the reason I've got back into this. He asked me what all my model stuff was about, and I got into a conversation about 40k with him. And he said, oh, I'm thinking of taking my son to one of the Warhammer shops to get him away from the computer. And really, we all know, and all of us in the hobby know, that this takes up a lot of time and is great for getting kids away from computer games and the TV and just doing something different. Anything from modelling to painting to playing the games. It keeps them interactive, lets them learn things without them even realising, while enjoying themselves, basically. So he got his son, took his son to the Warhammer store. His son gravitated to Age of Sigmar and of course the Khorne Bloodbound, and since then they bought the big starter set for Christmas, and my friend is now playing Stormcasts, his son is playing Bloodbound, and I thought, why not bring Skaven to the table? So in a couple of discussions with him, he said, why don't you download the AOS app and see what you think? So I downloaded the app, and it got me back into Age of Sigmar in a massive way. So look out for Age of Sigmar stuff coming on the channel, and a review of that app in particular, because I think it's brilliant. You can pay for it, but I'll go into that in a video about the app at some point. So that's pretty much Mini-Modelog news. Also, I'll be looking at Black Library in the future. Now, Black Library is something that kept me in the hobby without playing the games, because it gave more colour to the background of Warhammer 40k. And what I mean by that, it gave me backstories on all the characters you see on the tabletop, from Gulliman to how the fall of the Primarchs happened, and the Horus Heresy, and all of those things, and gave real characters to the models themselves. And with the relaunch of 40k and the relaunch of bringing the Primarchs back to that universe, I thought it was a good time to look back at what Black Library were doing over the last 10, 12 years, which is giving a great backstory and great backstories to those characters. And if you've never read a Black Library book, I can give you some great sort of guidance on how I got into the Black Library sort of stuff and what I read. I mean, I'm only on book 33 for the Horus Heresy, but that's because I try and stutter it with other books in between, and I will be reading book 34 real soon, so look out for maybe a review on book 34, you never know. Not that I really do book reviews, but anything for you guys. If you want to see anything from Age of Sigmar or Black Library, pop a comment in the comments down below, let me know what you want to see, and anything else you want me to do, whether it be something from the Games Workshop or Steamforged, or something completely left field and unrelated. Or more Malifaux, because I know I've not done any Malifaux for quite some time. There's a bit of a reason for that. I've stored Malifaux because essentially I need to paint. More about that in future videos, but thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the Locust video on Wednesday and Sculpt the week after. Hopefully now my subscribe button should be popping up. Last week's video, which was the base paint set, as well as my what have I bought this month news videos. Obviously this will eventually be retitled to news videos. So do check those out if you haven't already. And I'll see you on Wednesday.